Gina back again today. Thanks so much, Alicia, for letting me come play on your page. I am just going to go ahead and wait a couple minutes for some more people to hop on. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I am by my window today, so that I can show you guys how I put up a PDF pattern, and the light was so bright that you guys would never have been able to see me. So I was running around trying to get a light in front of me or something so that you guys would be able to see the fabric and the patterns and everything. So the first time I came on, I was going to let you guys know how I know Alicia, and then I had major technical difficulties with my phone, and so I didn't get a chance to. So first off, you guys can probably see my wire here. If you could just let me know that you could hear me, that would be wonderful. I have the microphone here, so that you guys can hopefully hear me. Alicia, if you could let me know if you could hear me. Let's see here. Hi, Donna. Yeah, if you guys could just let me know. The sound is going in and out. Oh my goodness. I tested this like a million times. Can't hear me. I literally like posted videos to my own Facebook page so that this would work, and then of course it's not working. Oh. Thanks for the face, Donna. What I can do is just, I guess, flip my camera around. I won't be able to see if I'm in the picture, but I suppose. That's wonderful, Natalie. Yeah, I have a ton of knits, and they're really my favorite to sew with. So, is the sound still going in and out, guys? I'm sorry, it's super frustrating. I've tried to take my phone in and get it fixed, and apparently it's not working. So, Natalie, can you hear me okay, or is the sound going in and out? Okay. In and out. Fantastic. So I'm gonna try to flip my camera around. Yeah, it's a wire, it's headphones, and I can't like do anything to clip it. It's my phone, I don't know. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry, guys. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me now, and what I will do is I brought my iPad up here because, you know, nothing ever works the way it's supposed to. I'm gonna get on watch the live video on my end on here, so that I can see your guys' questions and make sure that I'm in the camera, because I have no idea what's happening right now. So just 1 second, bear with me, guys. I thought I had the problem fixed yesterday, and apparently it is not fixed. So, and I literally took it into the phone shop yesterday, and they tested it out right in front of me, and it worked perfectly the whole time for them. Of course, because, you know. So, let's see here. Okay, can you guys hear me all right? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Melanie, for letting me know. Yay, okay. we'll just have to do it this way. I'm gonna move one more thing so I can set my iPad down, and then we will get to that gorgeous pile of knits. And I am gonna tell you guys how I know Alicia, because I still have not gotten to share that story with you guys. So one second. It's the beauty of live video, right, guys? This is what you see when nothing is scripted. So, okay, I think that we're good to go now. Okay, so about, I want to say 8 years ago, I was working as a pediatric home health nurse, and I had the pleasure of taking care of Alicia's son. So I spent 40 hours a week in Alicia's house. We got to know each other very well, which was awesome. And wherever she went and she wanted to go with her son, I got to go too. So that meant we got to go to sushi. My first and last time, I will totally admit that. Love you, Alicia. And my favorite, we would go to quilting shops, and I would get to watch her pick out fabrics. I know that probably sounds funny, but I am really good at matching. Like, I have black shirt, black pants, you know, a sweater that has some black in it. Like, I don't know how to coordinate, I know how to match. Alicia is like the master at coordinating fabric. So it was really cool to get to go to the fabric shops with her and like watch her do her thing and her magic. And she's just amazing at everything she can create. So it's awesome that you guys are here and learning so much from her. So that's how we met. I actually know her in real life, although we haven't seen each other in a few years. Oh, sushi. I like fake sushi, Alicia. I'm gonna totally admit that. I want my sushi cooked. I went to a restaurant recently with my family, and they had some kind of fish tacos, and I didn't realize like the phrase that they used in there meant that the tuna was just seared on the outside and it wasn't really cooked. And I was like, oh wait, can you please cook that? They probably thought I was crazy, like, why did you order it in the first place? But anyways, so that's how I know Alicia, and she is awesome. So let's move on to fabrics. I have a huge closet of them. I will totally admit that. I kind of see a fabric and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make something beautiful with that, and then it's so beautiful that I can't make anything with it. I have to like hold on to it. So let's go over now there's lots more types of fabrics, but I just wanted to give you guys like a basic run over some of the ones. So there's a cotton lycra or cotton spandex, and that's just a mix of cotton and lycra or spandex. And the lycra and spandex in it is what is going to give it its stretch. These ones are really good for something that needs like stretch in both ways. So like leggings or pants, you need them to stretch both directions. You don't want to sit down and like have your beautiful pair of pants that you made rip. So this is a cotton lycra. I will go ahead and unfold it here, and as you guys can see, the drape is really flowy, and it's also so you have your selvage to selvage edge, which is this horizontal direction that this one stretches. If you guys can see that, it stretches quite a bit, and then it also stretches this way. So this fabric is one that we would call a 4-way stretch because it stretches both ways. Now in your patterns, they will let you know whether you need a 4-way or a 2-way stretch, and they're also gonna tell you whether you need like a 20% stretch, a 50% stretch. So that information is good to have. Yeah. And then the next is jersey. Now jersey is a really kind of a broad term, honestly. It can be, they're cotton, but they're can be blended with other fibers such as rayon or polyester. Cotton jersey would be something that you would find like t-shirts are made out of. So they have a slight stretch, but not really. There's not really any recovery. So if you stretch out that t-shirt, it kind of is like, stretched out for good. And the other ones, if they're blended with a rayon or polyester, they can have a little more stretch. So I will be honest and tell you, yes, Alicia is awesome. I love her. I don't know exactly what the blends of these next 3 jerseys are. I kind of just buy fabric. If I've slowed down, but if I saw something that I loved, I would just buy it, and you know, at the time I would look at what the content is, but it's not like they come with labels sewn in them to tell you what it is. So I know that they're jersey, I just don't know what they're blended with. Hi, Linda. So some of them will be thicker, some of them will be thinner. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's a little bit see-through. It's a thinner fabric. It does have a 4-way stretch, which is nice. It would make a nice like t-shirt or top. So that's one of them. And my video is a little bit delayed, so hopefully I'm not missing any questions or anything. And then this is also another jersey, which again, it is a little bit thinner. You can kind of see through it. And it also has the 4-way stretch. I tried to grab one with 2-way, but I think I kind of love knits so much that I don't know if I have any that are just a 2-way stretch. I like them to all kind of have the 4-way stretch, because everything that I like to sew requires it. So, and again, just another one. This is just a solid. And you'll also notice, some of them do this more than others, but you'll notice that the fabric has curled on the end where they cut it. It curls towards the right side of the fabric, which is a good way to tell what your right side and your wrong side is, because it's a little bit hard to see otherwise. So that rolling of the fabric rolls in towards the right side and gives you a good indication of what way you need to lay your fabric to cut your pattern. And then next I have my sweater knits. These ones are really pretty. I love sweater knits. They are probably, out of all the knits, the other ones don't intimidate me much. Well, I sew with the other ones fine. The sweater knit worries me a little bit just because it's so delicate. The open weave of it is, you know, it can snag on things easily, and the serger is such a heavy duty machine. It works well, but I just worry. Now I have sewn with it and nothing bad happened. So but this is a sweater knit, and this one does have stretch in both directions. So again, it's another 4-way stretch, and this would make such a gorgeous top. Again, this is one of my favorites, and I have not brought myself to sew anything. So, and then I just grabbed one other sweater knit. It's kind of the same one, just a different color, I guess. It looked different when I had it folded, but again, 4-way stretch. And these ones are a little bit harder to tell which is the top and which is the bottom, but sometimes it will be a little bit more raised on one side, and that will tell you that that's the top of the sweater knit. And then the last fabric that I have to share with you guys today, and please forgive me if I don't say this correctly. I've heard people say it so many different ways that I'm like, I'll just pretend I know what I'm saying. It's Ponte de Roma. This is called it's a double knit fabric, which means it's a lot thicker than some of the other knits that I've shown you. And again, it can be a blend of cotton and either rayon or spandex. And then depending on how much of that is in the weave, that lets you know how much of a stretch it's going to have. So these make really great skirts, dresses, even pants, depending on what kind of Ponte de Roma it is. And it does have a 4-way stretch. And I am going to bring it up like closer to the camera and see, it has like a texture to it almost. This one does, and it's quite thick. I actually also brought out some garments that I've sewn with the different fabrics, just to kind of show you how they lay. This one is I believe this is a jersey. And it's really stretchy and just super flowy. It makes a really great skirt. I wear this in the summer. It's nice and cool. So that's what that one looks like. And that was a jersey. I don't remember what I just said. If I said jersey or cotton, right? This one is a cotton lycra. And it doesn't have a whole lot of stretch in it. It has a little bit, which is perfect because I wanted to make the bodice of this dress supportive. The pattern is actually like you can make a sports bra out of it. So technically you can like wear this dress with no bra because the fabric is nice and thick and supportive. It's got enough of the spandex in it to be supportive there. And then this one is another Pont de Roma fabric that I made a dress out of, and it's so perfect. It was perfect for this wrap dress. It was thick enough and had enough structure to it, but it also still is flowy. And I haven't totally finished this dress, I'll admit it. I was gonna wear it to a wedding, and then I realized, like, wait, you're not supposed to wear white to a wedding. What am I doing? And so I had to hurry up and whip up another dress. But I bought this pattern and just kind of fell in love with the fit, and it has like a tulip hem at the bottom of the skirt. It's super pretty. So anyways, that's kind of what some of the garments look like with, yes, it's Pont de Roma, R-O-M-A is how you say it. And a lot of people in the fabric world just call it Pont, P-O-N-T-E with the little tilde over the E. They don't actually say like the whole name. So yeah, that's what that fabric is called. You can just, like, if you wanted to go find some of it, you could just type in the P-O-N-T-E and you'd be able to find the fabric easily. Some people abbreviate it like that. So when you're sewing your patterns, in the beginning of your pattern, it should tell you exactly what kind of fabric is recommended. Usually they'll give you a couple of different types so that you're not stuck with just like one specific type of fabric. And they'll also tell you if it needs a certain amount of stretch. That will be mentioned in the pattern as well, which is really helpful. So you know, like, is this gonna have enough give? Is my pattern gonna turn out okay? Or am I gonna sew up this shirt, spend all the time, and then it's gonna be like too tight and it's not gonna fit me? Yeah. So do you guys, oh, Ponte, yeah, Natalie, honestly, I don't know if I'm even saying it right. Like I said, I've listened to a lot of other people say what it's called, and everybody like has a different way to say it. So who knows if I'm even saying it right? I'm probably not, but yeah. It could be Ponte. I don't know. I speak a little Spanish, but that's not a Spanish word, I don't think, so I don't know. So yeah, your pattern should tell you exactly what you need, and then you could go, you know, online and search for the type of fabric as well as the percentage of stretch that you need, so that you can get exactly what you need and sew your pattern the way that you need it to be sewn. So the next thing I'm going to do is go over PDF patterns. So when I started sewing, I used the ones that you could buy like at Joann's or online or whatever, like a Simplicity pattern or whatever it is, the brown super thin paper. And I was a little intimidated when I started using PDF patterns because it was new, but I've found since I started using them that they are just my favorite. I don't think I ever want to sew with another one of the other kind of patterns. The tissue paper is so thin. I found I would have to iron it because it was all folded in the package, and then your pieces weren't flat, and it didn't work super well. Can I help you?
See, there's spilled milk on the carpet.
Okay, can you please just get a towel and clean it up as best you can for me? And can you please tell him not to have milk on the carpet? Thanks. Sorry guys, I have my kids here. I am a stay-at-home mama and I homeschool one of my boys, so they're always here, and they're usually really great about, hey, go watch a movie, and they stay downstairs. So let's get going on the PDF pattern. So I will tell you that I cannot put a whole pattern together. The pattern designers work super hard on creating the patterns, and also all the edits and things that they do for them. They have pattern testers that come and like sew out the patterns for them. Some of them even pay their testers. So excuse me, there's a lot of work that goes into creating patterns, and so if I were to show the whole thing for you, you may somehow be able to like steal the pattern and create it yourself. That would be really difficult, but just, you know, out of respect for the pattern designers, I can't show you the whole thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you kind of what the pieces of paper look like. Usually a pattern is anywhere from 20 to 40 pages of printer paper. I know that sounds like a lot, but you can keep it forever and just keep using the Pellon 830 Easy pattern that I mentioned in the blog post, and use the pattern to trace out all the different sizes. And like for me, I'm only 5 feet tall, in case you guys didn't know. Why would you know that? And so nothing fits me the way that it should. The sleeves are always too long, the legs are always too long. Nothing fits me the way that it should. And my body's a little curvy, so I need like one size at the top in the bust, one size in the waist, and another in the hips. And so anyways, when you're doing PDF patterns, you can take the pattern and grade it to the different sizes on that Pellon Easy pattern, and then you have your own custom size, and then if your size changes or you want to make it for someone else, you just trace a new one out. You never have to cut the pattern, and you can keep it. Now, if you want to cut the paper, you can. I never do, because I don't want to have to reprint it and tape it again. That would be a pain. So this pattern is what they call like a no trim pattern, that you don't have to trim the edges of the pages. You can just overlap them and put it together. Now, personally, that bugs me. I don't like even this tiny edge right here covering up any part of my pattern. So I always trim the left and the top pieces where they overlap. Other people don't care about that. Really, the line is continuous enough that if you didn't trim it, it would be fine. It's just a personal preference of mine, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna turn the camera so that you guys can see what I have in the window already, and then I'll show you how I tape the pieces. So just 1 second. Don't mind the like industrial look out back there. We have our backyard, and then there's a business back there that has stuff. So there is the 2 pieces of the pattern that I've already put together. You can see like right here, they overlap. I did trim that because I don't want like a tiny section of my pattern to be hidden. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer here for you guys too. And feel free, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. There we go. I've got a light, can you see? Trying to shine in the front too so you guys can see. So I use the window because I can line these up perfectly. With the light shining through, I can see, oh, I need to move it up, down, left, right. And get the pattern, the whole pattern piece lined up perfectly. So this would go all the way like across however many pieces that the pattern has. This one has, gosh, 6 pages across. 3, 4, 5. It has 5 pieces of paper across. So you would just keep taping, and I would tape it higher up and all the way to the left of my window, just because then you don't have to move your pattern. But for today, I just stuck it here so that you guys would be able to see the whole thing. So you would go your A1, and then you just keep going all the way across to the right until you stop, and then it will go B1. So you will take the B1 paper, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to leave this edge on to show you guys what the overlap looks like, just so you know, and you can see like, oh, that would bother me, or oh, I don't really care, I'm not going to trim edges on 30 pieces of paper. So you're just going to line it up right here, and you can see through the window like, oh, that's not quite where it needs to be. I usually adjust one side and then go to the other, and then just double check them, and they're perfectly overlapped, so you can tape. And I just put a couple of pieces of tape on them. I go to the dollar store and buy tape. It's cheap. You can get 3 rolls for $1. And it might not be like the sturdiest tape for other things, but I found it works perfectly for these patterns. There's like no issue with it coming apart or anything. So you can see like this line right here is covered up. If it were overlapping right here, like all of these lines would be covered up. If that doesn't bother you, you can totally go ahead and not trim the pieces at all. I will do this one without trimming as well, so that you guys can see here where there's actually pattern lines, like what that would look like if you didn't trim it. Again, it's not really that big of a deal. I just kind of have a thing about everything being perfectly so. So having it covered just kind of bothers me. I already have this pattern. This was an extra one. My printer likes to print 2 of everything. So I won't be doing anything with it anyway, so it won't bother me. So on this one, you can see that you're going to need to line it up in 3 different spots. So I always start in this top left corner of my pages and just move it until it's lined up, and then put my hand there. I'll line up the next one, and then I'll go over and make sure it's lined up, and it is. So then we will just tape in those spots to make sure it doesn't move. And it's lined up. And then you guys, if you can see here, when it's on the window, obviously you can still see the lines through it because the window is shining through. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's just a tiny, like 1/4 of an inch of the pattern that you can't see the lines on. It's not really that big of a deal. I'm just kind of picky about certain things, and that would be one of them. So I like to trim those edges. Some patterns do call for trimming, and the border is bigger, and it just is kind of, you wouldn't want to do this part. But this is a no trim pattern, and it's super easy to put together. Then you have your pattern, and what I do is, like this would be, this is the back piece, so it will be one whole piece, and then like the front piece will be below it, and the sleeves will be somewhere. I'll cut out each of those individual pieces so that I have, you know, individual pattern pieces. I'll cut around the whole outside like of the pattern so that it's not this big huge monstrous thing, because it is pretty big when you get done putting it together. It's pretty giant to try to take off the window all at once. So that's what I do. I cut around it, and then I have the pieces to go ahead and use. Let me see. The comments are too far away. I don't have my glasses on today. I don't need them far up, but I do need them far away. So, oh yeah, Natalie, I have found this is easiest. I tried to tape these patterns together on the floor, and it's just really hard to get them lined up perfectly. And if you're off on the pieces, then eventually it's really gonna throw your pattern off, even if it's by a tiny bit. So you can use like a sliding glass door. You can use, this is my bedroom window, it's a fairly big window, so you could use anything like that. And really, if the pattern cuts off at a place where You don't have to continue off to the right. You could essentially like trim that part off and then put the next piece of the pattern together too, which is an option. So like I could just find all the pieces that have the back and put that together first. If you have a smaller window, that would work too. And I forgot to grab my Pellon Easy stuff out of my sewing room. I had a really bad migraine yesterday and kind of laid in bed for most of the day. So I was better at 10 o'clock last night and trying to grab things, and I forgot that. So I'm going to grab it super quick and show it to you guys. Okay, I'm back. So the Pellon 830 Easy pattern is like a lifesaver. I love it. So I started a sewing business and I have kids, and there are patterns that I can use for both my middle son and my youngest son, because they're, you know, both in the kid size patterns. And I don't want to cut up my pattern, as I mentioned before. I want to be able to continue using it. So this Pellon Easy pattern is amazing. As you can see, it's see-through. So what I do is chop off a piece and then lay it over the top of my pattern, if you guys can see that. And then you can either trace the line and cut it, or you can just take your scissors and run them along the line. I don't even bother to trace it. This stuff is awesome. You would just get something to weigh it down, pattern weights or cans of food or shoes, like whatever you have available. And you can literally just cut along the line of the pattern. And if your scissors are sharp enough, you can just slide it all along the whole pattern piece. And then the other great thing about this Pellon Easy pattern is it's, I don't want to say that it's sticky because that's not the right word, but it's a little bit, it has a little bit of a texture to it, which is awesome because it almost sticks to the fabric when you're sewing things, or I mean when you're cutting out your pattern. I'm gonna move this back to so you guys can see me. It feels weird to just be talking to myself. It will stick to the fabric in a way. So you still can use pattern weights and stuff, but you don't really have to use that many. You can smooth it down over the fabric and it kind of like grabs to it. Unlike the tissue paper patterns that you buy at the store where you really have to pin those babies down like good. This stuff is amazing. It just, it sticks to the fabric and kind of clings to it. And makes cutting out your pattern super easy. I love it. For some stuff, I don't even put pattern weights or anything down on it because it holds so well. I just get out my rotary cutter and I smooth it down on my fabric and use the rotary cutter all the way around it, and it doesn't slide, it doesn't move. Super, super easy. And then you have your pattern pieces, and this is thick enough that it doesn't, like, I'm trying to tear it and it doesn't just tear like that tissue paper pattern. I suppose you could even use this with the patterns you buy in the store. Instead of cutting those all up, you could use this as well. I buy it at Joann's, and because I was sewing as a business before, I buy a whole bolt. It's honestly not even that expensive if you buy a bolt. It's like, I want to say $2.50 a yard. You get a coupon and you can get a whole bolt of it for like $15. So it's really not a spendy thing to buy. You can also find it on Amazon. And it is just total game changer for me. It's my favorite thing to use. So do you guys, oh, yearbooks, yeah, see? Yearbooks are great. Oh, and Marcia, I'm just seeing your comment. I have a system for storing all of my my patterns and my pattern pieces. So I will pull it off of the window, but I don't take it apart. I leave it completely taped together. And I went to the dollar store. The dollar store is a great place to buy some of these things, guys. Seriously, they have like those large manila envelopes, the like 8.5 by 11.5, whatever legal size paper, that are like the orangish color. I buy those and I stick my pattern in it and then I write on the front of it. I think you get like 4 or 6 of them in a package for $1 at the dollar store. Like, super good deal. So I'll just fold it. I'll fold up the pattern and I'll put it in there. I do cut it, like I said, in pieces. So I'll have my front piece, I'll have my back piece, whatever, you know, pieces of the pattern. I'll cut that part out so there's not so much paper to fold up. Hi Lorraine. Oh wow, from the UK. Welcome. If you're talking about what I'm using here, it's Pellon 830 Easy pattern. And in the video description today, there's a link to the blog post, which has all that information in it too. It has the name of this. So, but yeah, I cut the pattern pieces, I put them in the manila envelopes, and then I have them stored forever. You can open them back up. They're not folded too bad that you can't, you know, retrace another size if you need to. And then they have Ziploc storage baggies at the dollar store, and I buy those as well. And then I put my actual, the pattern pieces that I made out of the Pellon Easy pattern, I fold those up and I put them inside the Ziploc baggie so that I have each size by itself in the bag. I have a lot of patterns, guys. I had to find a way to like store and organize them in a way that wasn't crazy, because I have probably too many. And I also, any of the information that's on the pattern, like it says it's the back and it tells you the grain line or the stretch, or put the dart here, or any of that detail that's on the pattern, I'll write it right onto the Pellon Easy pattern. That way I have all that information on my pieces and I don't have to pull that big piece of paper out for any reason, unless I'm trying to get a new size. So even like if they're pants, oh yeah, and then you glue the picture to the front, that's a really good idea too. Excuse me, too. I tend to not print the whole PDF pattern because the patterns themselves are way more than 30 pages. And so I only print the pieces with the pattern, and then that's what I was gonna say. So thank you, Marian, for reminding me. I have my iPad, which is sitting next to me here, and I upload all the patterns onto my Google Drive. So then when I'm sewing, I can open up my iPad and I have the whole pattern instructions right there in front of me on my iPad. If you want to print them, you can do that too, and if you want paper. I'm a total paper person. I plan on paper and everything, but for some reason, when I'm sewing, I like to look at my patterns on my iPad and the instructions and stuff. I found it easier. I can scroll, probably because it fits on my sewing desk easier than if I were to have like a bunch of pieces of paper that I was trying to organize everywhere. So, yeah, I'm just looking to see if I missed any questions here. So that is how I use my PDF patterns. I've made some really awesome stuff for my clients. I've made really cool stuff for my own kids. Even he's 17 now, but I guess he was 16 when he was like, "Hey mom, can you make me a pair of joggers?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I can." When does your 16-year-old son want you to like sew something for him, right? So it's really awesome to be able to make clothes, number one, that fit you properly. I've never had clothes fit me right. I go to the store and I buy petite jeans, and guys, they're still too long. Or if they're petite and they're supposed to be like the kind that are ankle pants and they like fold up, they're still too long for me. So yes, Alicia, joggers. I'm telling you, I have got women's, men's, and children's jogger patterns. So, and the funny thing is I've made them for all 3 of my boys, and I've yet to make myself a pair. Actually, I think I've made them a couple of pairs, and I have not made myself a pair, which is crazy. Probably because the fabric that I have, I'm like, oh, this one's perfect and this one's perfect, but it's too perfect to use. Sometimes I have that problem of just like cutting into it and actually using it. I need to do that. So do you guys have any questions about PDF patterns or about sewing with knit fabrics or the different types of knits? If you guys have any, be sure to either ask now, or you can also drop your questions in the comments of this video afterwards, and I'll make sure to answer any of them that you may have. I think that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you, Alicia, so much for letting me jump on and play. Okay. Marcia is asking if there is a place to get PDF patterns. There are so many places to get PDF patterns. I have some favorite designers that I kind of tried and true for me. The fit is always good for me. I do always have to adjust them a little bit, but in general, the style and the fit is wonderful for me. So you can honestly, if you go online and type in PDF sewing patterns, a ton of them will show up. There are some on Etsy as well. I'll look and see if some of the ones that I have actually like sewn up myself and used, I'll look and see if some of those are on Etsy so that I can kind of direct you towards those as well. There are really a lot of PDF pattern designers. I think, let's see, I started my sewing business in 2013, so I want to say that the PDF patterns were like really becoming big at that time, and it's just really grown since then. There's tons of pattern groups online. You can even I've tested patterns for a few of the pattern designers, which is really cool. They send you the pattern for free, and they let you sew up a top or whatever the pattern is. So yeah, there's, okay, awesome. Thanks, Alicia. I wasn't sure. So the pattern that I used today was from Judy Hale, and her pattern company is Patterns for Pirates. I know, funny name. Her patterns are hands down my favorite. Just the style that they are clothes that I wear. The patterns sew up super easily. I've never had any trouble understanding them. And she's got a really big variety. She used to be on Etsy. I don't know if she has very many patterns on there anymore because she's grown so much. Like her pattern business has just exploded. So you can either find her website or, yes, brown paper bags, yes. You can find her website online too, patternsforpirates.com. She has a sister who also makes patterns, and hers is Made for Mermaids. Her patterns, I think, mostly are women and children. A little bit different than her sister's, but this wrap dress that I showed you guys that I absolutely love, like this is my favorite dress ever. She made that one. It's called the Mama Isabel, I believe. I think that's what it's called. So those are two of my favorites. I'm trying to think kids-wise what ones have been my favorite, because really the jogger pattern that I have for everybody in my house is Patterns for Pirates. Yeah, I don't know as I have another total favorite. George and Ginger is another one that she is amazing. Her style is a little bit different than the clothes that I would personally wear, but I have sewn some of her patterns and they're equally as amazing as Judy's. Just style-wise, they're not quite as much me as Judy's patterns, the Patterns for Pirates. And let's see, I've sewn up some Brindle and Twig for kids. And I think that is all I can recall at the moment. Those are kind of my major ones. I probably have like 90% of my patterns are Patterns for Pirates. So, and I have a lot that I haven't even sewn yet, like joggers for myself. I need to get on that. So anyways, thank you all for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And I hope that this was helpful and that you feel confident to go find a PDF pattern and sew something up for yourself. It is so rewarding to be able to make your own clothes, and people are like, oh, I like your shirt, and you you can think to yourself like, yeah, I made that. Or you can even say it out loud, thank you so much, I made that. So yeah, it's awesome. In fact, it's a funny story. I went to, my son does a program here where I homeschool during the week, and then one day a week he goes for workshops that are fun for him. So we were there yesterday. He was taking a piano lesson, and one of the moms was there, and I looked at her shirt and I'm like, oh, I know that she got that fabric from So English, which is where I buy most of my knits. But I didn't want to ask her because I've asked people before and they look at me weird like, no, I did not make my leggings, you crazy woman. Why would you ask me that? So I heard her talking about the sewing class that she was going to be teaching, and I'm like, oh, that is her, I bet. And sure enough, she's a tester for Pattern for Pirates, and she bought the fabric at So English. So it's just funny, small world. So sew yourself something up. You will be so happy that you did. And if you have any questions or need any help, feel free to hop on here and ask, or let Alicia know and she can get in touch with me. I'd be happy to help you guys and answer any questions that you have. So have a wonderful day, everybody. I will see you later.